This meeting is a meeting of the school board and public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation business, and it is not to be considered a public community meeting. There will be time for public participation as indicated by the agenda. Visitors requesting permission to address the board on specific agenda items should sign in before the meeting starts on the form on the board table. The board requests a discussion time limit of 3 minutes on any specific agenda item, and we ask visitors to make only one appearance per item. We, the board, policy 0167.3 dictates that personnel issues will not be addressed. Concerns about individual employees of the district should be brought to the superintendent or designee. The meeting site is fully accessible. Any person requiring further accommodation should contact the superintendent at the school corporation's central office. As customary, we always start our meeting by prayer. Liz?
You bow with me, please. Dear Lord, we thank you for this evening and the opportunity to gather to do the work of the school district. We pray that you would guide our decisions and that we would act in the best interest of our students and our parents, our families, our community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
The Board of Trustees respectfully requests those guests and visitors in attendance to be courteous and silence their cell phone. We do have, at the beginning, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm going to ask for our Tiger champions to please lead us in that.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. Roll call. We do have everyone here present tonight. Item D, mission statement. Lisa.
The Lebanon Community School Corporation will cultivate and reach every student by influencing and enriching their lives through the power of education, and will do so in a positive and safe learning environment.
Okay. E, superintendent announcements and celebrations.
Thank you, President Bertrand. I have several celebrations to share with the board this evening. First off, we'd like to congratulate our Lady Tiger wrestlers on an outstanding season. Lady Tigers finished first place out of 63 teams at regional with a total of 116 points. 5 wrestlers advanced to state championship on Friday evening in Kokomo. I'm very proud of all of them. Sarah Hughes was a state champion in her class, and Gracie Brandt was state runner-up, and the team earned a 3rd place finish. So very proud of their efforts, and look forward to congratulating them in person very soon. Members of the high school DECA team recently competed in the DECA district competitions. Over 400 students in the DECA district. Proud to announce the largest group ever advanced to the state competitions, with 5 high school qualifiers finishing first, 3 finishing second, 4 finishing third, and 7 others. These included, let me get the names here, Natalie Defoe, Kushi Patel, Macy Kenna, Addison Kupka, Matthew Keith, Luke Farrell, Carson Bertrand, Sriram Srinivasan, Jessica Limcooler, had to work on that one, thank you, Summer Stogsdale, Ella Taylor, Abby Thomas, Grant Krulik, Will Swartz, Kaylee Dial, Molly Garner, and the team of Jeffrey Hart, Ethan Nyhart, and Benjamin Piper. I think a couple board members recognized a couple names on that list, so congratulations to moms and dads as well. The high school is also proud to announce the funding of a 5th freshwater well in Swaziland. Since 2013, the high school has funded 4 wells in Uganda through the Thirst Project. The Thirst Project Club will present $12,000 on February 7th. In total, the High School Thirst Project Club has donated $44,100 since 2013, helping to eradicate global water crisis for men and women who do not have access to safe water. So thank you to all the students and sponsors for that great service. Harney Elementary students with consistent great behavior were rewarded recently from a visit from the Frozen sisters, Elsa and Anna. I actually got to meet them myself on that morning. Students had a choice of a concert with the sisters or playing games in the gym. They had 130 students out of their 480 that were awesome, great citizens and participated in that. Preschool students were also treated, and the Madrigal Choir, as they went through the halls of Harney, Elsa and Anna joined them in that journey around the building, so that was a great day for Harney. Since the first day of school this year, Harney teachers have spent 20 minutes each school day engaging all students in lessons on how to be a great citizen. Lessons are based on social and emotional learning standards from the Department of Education and our LCSC Pride initiative. We are also training our students at Harney to be mentors to the younger grades, and 4th and 5th grade students are going into the classrooms and co-teaching, if you will, those citizenship skills. We're proud of their efforts there. Harney also celebrated great behavior and pride with events such as Pop-Tarts with Principals and pizza with their SRO, Mark Tibbs. Last month, 4 Central Elementary teachers, Jessica Frederick, Casey Anderson, Kim Larman, and Diana Shirley, had the privilege of presenting the Leader in Me program at the IASP Fall Conference. That was quite an honor to be able to present that there in that setting. And Central 5th grade student, Olivia Nicolau, had the honor of delivering the introductory message and introducing this keynote speaker, Sean Covey, of course, as you know, is the son of Stephen Covey, that delivered a great address to the administrators from around the state at the Assistant Principals Conference. So congratulations to her. Actually, was at Central today. She was practicing her speech with Mrs. Outcalt, and she did an outstanding job on that. The Central Elementary Lighthouse team collected enough money to support 2 local families during this past Christmas holiday. I had the pleasure of attending the Whitestown American Legion with Mrs. Moore, Mrs. Dickerson, to receive a generous donation to Perryworth Elementary School. They have provided several donations over the past several years. Those donations have assisted students in need when attending field trips, provide funds for academic competitions, and has even assisted students with providing some needed eyewear and glasses for those who are in need. So we thank them for that ongoing partnership with Perryworth. I also attended Perryworth's School Safety Review and Audit. The Department of Education randomly selects schools throughout the state to perform safety and security audits of schools in the state of Indiana. That went very well. The administration, Mr. Smith, Mr. Voorhees, everyone that works so hard to keep our students safe at our schools are to be commended. It was a very positive review, and many great comments from the representative from the DOE at the end of that. Finally, today was a pretty neat day for one of our LMS students, our middle school students, as Kevin Goudreau, he's father of our middle school student Matthew Goudreau, came to the middle school to surprise him as he was home from deployment. I think we may have a picture up here momentarily. And we assembled the, I should not say we, I'm not taking any credit for this. The administration and the staff assembled a mock little convocation for the 6th grade students out in the 6th grade wing. It was all a ruse, of course, as Dad came in and saw Matthew, and that was great. And we thank them for making that happen. Mr. Dungy, thank you for your team. That was a great day. We actually had Fox 59 and WTHR came as well to provide some coverage for that. And it's just always great to be able to celebrate those that are serving us in uniform, and we're just proud of that and happy for the family and welcome home to him. And with that, that is all for my superintendent celebrations and announcements today.
Pretty good. Good stuff. Okay. Item number 2, certify executive session content. I need a motion for our January 7th, 2020 executive session. Initiation of litigation or litigation that is either pending or has been specifically in writing. And then we also talked about the purchase or lease of real property by governing body up to the time of contract or option to purchase or lease executed by parties. So I need a motion, please. second?
I'll second.
Any questions? All those for certifying our executive session contents signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Item number 3, approval of minutes. This is from our December 17th regular meeting and our January 7th reorg meeting. Need a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Any questions? All those in favor of our approving of our minutes from December 17th, 2019 and January 7th, 2020, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Item number 4, audience to visitors. Didn't have anybody sign up. Item number 5, Tiger Pride.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to Ms. Scott.
Hey, we're excited to recognize our 5th, 8th, and 12th grade students this month who have demonstrated pride in their buildings and outside of the classroom. We're going to begin with recognizing Jacob Winger from Lebanon High School. Jacob was nominated by the high school staff, and some words to share about Jacob is that he's an outstanding young man that comprehensively represents all characteristics of pride. He's blossomed into a tremendous young man as a student leader in the LHS FFA. He's actively involved as the vice president and takes great initiative to support all aspects of the chapter. Through his dedication, hard work, and involvement in FFA, Jacob has developed a passion for turf management. You might even spot Jacob at an Indianapolis Indians game where he works as a part-time as on the field crew. Recently, Jacob's passion and hard work earned him an Indiana FFA state proficiency title in turf grass management. Jacob truly models the values of hard work, high character, integrity, and initiative. His top 20 class ranking reflects that he always gives his best in all that he does. His future plans following graduation are to attend Purdue University, to major in turf management and minor in ag business. Following college, he plans to work for a professional sports team. Congratulations, Jacob. Also nominated by the high school staff this evening is Courtney Wellborn. And Courtney was unable to join us this evening, but I still want to share some words that were submitted. She is a tremendous young lady who always makes it a point to treat others with great care, compassion, and respect. She's widely known for her ability to make others feel welcome, recognized, and appreciated. At her recent college athletic scholarship signing, the community room was completely filled with students, staff, family, and community members who all spoke highly about how Courtney has made them a better person by how she has treated them. Next fall, Courtney is planning to attend IU South Bend, where she will continue her softball career as a college student and athlete. Congratulations to Courtney. Lebanon Middle School swag team has nominated Bree Mauger. Bree is an outstanding student in all of her classes. She participates in several extra and co-curricular activities, all while maintaining high grades. Bree is a student who even demonstrates pride even when she is absent from school, as she communicates with her teachers right away to ask what is missing. Bree plans ahead and is always aware of what her responsibilities are as a student and works hard to complete them. She is an amazing young lady with a bright future ahead. Congratulations. The Bulldog team at the middle school also has nominated Anna Hale, and Anna is not with us this evening, but just a little bit of comments about her. She's an exceptional student and ambassador for the middle school. She takes pride in her academic success and is a great role model not only for 8th grade, but also the 6th and 7th. She shows great leadership skills in and out of the class, but yet remains open to the views and opinions of her fellow classmates. Congratulations to Anna. Nominated by Mrs. Shirley from Central Elementary is Sophia Metheny. Sophia is a leader who constantly displays all the characteristics of Tiger Pride, as well as the 7 habits of highly effective people. She performs well academically and works hard to improve her weaknesses. She is great at prioritizing her work by always planning ahead and completing her big rocks first. She takes initiative in the classroom and will always step up and help out when anyone needs anything. Sophia is dependable, and the staff at Central knows that she will do big things. Congratulations. Caden Bailey is representing Hattie B. Stokes. Caden is the type of student who always goes above and beyond what is asked of or expected of him. He continuously demonstrates the use of our school lifelines and serves as a leader in and out of the classroom. He has 2 adopted classrooms in which he serves as an ambassador, one of which is for the other 5th graders, which can be challenging at times. Ms. Winsler knows that she can always count on Caden to complete any task with integrity and efficiency. He is constantly checking on the well-being of his friends and ensuring that everyone feels included during the day. Congratulations. Mrs. Bogus has nominated Madeline Luchetta from Harney. Mrs. Bogus shared that Madeline comes to school every day with a smile on her face. She is happy to help others in the classroom and serves as a role model for the younger students in the building. She sees the good in all people and finds the positive light in every situation. She works hard even when the workload is tough. She never gives up, but rather finds a way to think outside of the box and be successful. Her respectful attitude, as well as the initiative, dependability, and efficiency she demonstrates on a daily basis, are evidence that she is a true Tiger Pride champion. Congrats. And last but not least, from Perry Worth is Katie Fidel. Katie was nominated by Ms. Hendrickson. Katie is consistently respectful to all around her. She shows perseverance in her schoolwork and always does her best on assignments. She is always ready for class and shows up every day with a positive attitude. Katie shows kindness to others daily and finds ways to help in the classroom without even being asked. We are so lucky to have Katie in our classroom. Congratulations.
I'll break the awkward silence while you're watching the picture. Thank you to all of the Pride winners. Thank you, young ladies and gentlemen, for your hard work. I think it speaks volumes. We have staff members here as well as the administration to support these students. It just shows the sense of community that we have here at Lebanon Community Schools. And also, thank you, parents, and all of you that are here, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, that are here supporting as well. We can't do this alone. Obviously, we do this with you and with your help and support and commitment, not only to the academic success of the students, but the character traits that are going to take them far in life. So thank you so much for that support to all of you and the staff members who came out tonight to support the students as well. Thank you all very much.
Next, we'd like to also recognize our community Tiger Pride champions. This evening, the high school would like to recognize Cindy Murphy. Lebanon High School is very proud to recognize Cindy Murphy as an LCSC Community Pride champion. As the director of the Boone County Health Department, Cindy has been a very valuable and involved member of the Lebanon community. LHS has been very fortunate to be a frequent recipient of her and her department's services. She works very closely with all of our schools to ensure our students have the required immunizations. Cindy created a monthly countywide school nurses meeting that has been a very important resource for our school nurses. She also supports several important trainings for our schools, such as Narcan, Stop the Bleed, and other essential trainings. Cindy and her team at the Boone County Health Department have hosted several LHS student interns through our Health Careers program and work-based learning. Cindy and her department have proven to be an invaluable resource not only to LHS but also LCSC. Lebanon High School is extremely thankful for all of her support that she has provided, and we wish her the very best in her upcoming retirement. The Lebanon Fire Department has also been nominated by the school district as a Community Pride Champion. The men and women of LFD are true public servants. As an organization, they display pride in all that they do. When called upon, they are always there to lend a helping hand or serve our community in a positive manner. On a given day, you might find them serving breakfast at one of our elementary buildings, assisting with emergency drills throughout the district, or mentoring LHS student interns while providing them a real-world experience. They've even been known to convince several of our staff members to accompany them into a burning building, for training purposes, of course. Lebanon Fire Department, we thank you for your unwavering dedication and service to our school and community. Thank you.
As is the same with the parents and guardians and families who support our students, we can't do this alone without partners, community partners as well. So whether it be equipping our staff with the skills and resources necessary to support our students, or whether it's to provide safety and security for our students, but also positive role models and helping our students see the possibilities once they graduate from these halls, and just the diverse skills and opportunities that they have within Lebanon Community Schools as well is just invaluable to us. So we thank our community partners for their ongoing support of our students.
And this is the point, if any parents want to leave right now, or you can stay around for this exciting school board meeting.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
Just because you got your award
You don't
doesn't mean
count.
you get to go. Okay, item number 6, consent agenda for routine staff matters. Mr. Tate.
Yes, at this time, I'd ask, I'll start financial report. For the year ending December 31st, 2019, 97.59% of the education fund was expended, 99.96% of the operation fund was expended. At this time, I'd ask board approval for claims numbered 50278 through 50525, and the payrolls dated December 20th, December 27th of 2019, and January 10th of 2020. The claims totaled $3,939,226.79. The payrolls totaled $1,792,636.75, for a total of $5,731,863.54. Ask approval of those claims and payrolls, please.
Okay. Board, I need a motion to approve, to basically pay our bills and to pay our employees.
I'll make that motion.
Second? Any questions about that? All those in favor of the consent agenda for routine business matters signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Report on fiscal indicators and end-of-year financials. Mr. Tate.
Yes, in front of you is a hard copy of what I'm going to go through. This is a new state requirement. They have identified what they considered indicators for a healthy or non-healthy school corporation as far as finances, and we are required to report this to the board. So at this time, we'll start with the cover sheet, which talks about your average daily membership, which is your student count. You can see the history there from 2011 through 2019. Small ticks up, small ticks down. Nothing to be concerned over. Of course, we would always like to see some growth, like to see the green bars rather than the pink bars, but those are our reports on the ADM. Following that is a report on the fund balances. And you'll see in the upper right-hand corner, all those boxes checked are the ones that are being reported on this graph. So we're reporting the general fund, the operations funds, which include the old capital projects, bus replacement, transportation operation, rainy day, and other local funds. Some things probably that stick out as anomalies here. If you look in the 2011, the green bar represent construction funds and debt funds that we had at the time. Those were kind of spent down over the next few years, and then you'll see that green bar coming back in 2017 and 2018. That's when we issued some GO bonds and received that money and hadn't expended it yet. Otherwise, if you kind of look across there, the yellow bars are pretty consistent, the blue bars are pretty consistent, so nothing there alarming. You'll see that the cash balances ranged from a low of $7.8 million in 2014 up to the high of 2018 of 18.9 just about. On the next one is also on fund balances, but you'll see the only box checked here is now the general fund. So you'll see, again, we hung around like $2.9 million. We were low in 2015. That was the year following where the state cut our budget. And so we had less revenue coming in for the general fund, but yet we had not had a chance to adjust our expenditures. And you can see our general fund balance reached a high of 3.7 in 2018. The next one is also on fund balances, but it's the three funds of CPF, bus replacement, transportation operation. So we had a high balance of 2.6 in 2011, and we've kind of leveled off around the 1 million, 1.2 million, the ending 4 years on this graph. The next graph is on deficit and surplus, and again, you see in the upper right-hand corner that all the funds are checked, so we're reporting on all the funds combined. So the green is revenue on all those funds, the blue is expenditures, and the yellow is either above zero or below zero. So if it's above zero, you had a positive year. If you had the yellow bars below zero, that means you spent more than you brought in. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It means you had the money to do that. So you kind of see that our revenue and expenditures were pretty close all the years that we've gone through this in 2011 through 2018. Next one is also report on deficit and surplus, but now the only box checked is the general fund. And you can see the bars are even closer now. The revenue and expenditures are real close almost every year across there. So there's some years we spent more than we brought in. Some years we did not spend as much as we brought in, but we're pretty consistent on staying close to that. No wide variances there to worry about. The next one is also a deficit surplus graph, also now on the operation funds is the only box checked. So this would be, again, our old bus replacement, CPF, and transportation operation. So again, the fluctuation in expenditures and revenue is close to each other. It means we budgeted well, we expended well. Again, no spikes, no anomalies there to worry about. The next one is fund balances as percent of your expenditures. The three funds selected here are general fund operations and rainy day. So in 2011, your percent of expenditures with your fund balance was almost 39%, and it kind of hung around the 20% up to 26% in 2018. So again, we were carrying good fund balances. We had money left over at the end of the year in comparison to our expenditures. The next graph is similar, but now the only box checked is the general fund, so you're comparing your fund balance with your expenditures in general fund. So you can see we had around, anywhere from 13.9% down to a low of 7.4%. Again, that was the year after we got cut in the budget, and we were adjusting our expenditures, so we hit a low there. We have built that balance back up to a very comfortable balance, around 13%, and working well with that. Next one is similar graph for operation funds. You had a high in comparison in 2011. We've plateaued and balanced out around 20% for 15, 16, 17, 18. So again, that's a comfortable balance. I think that shows consistent budgeting and consistent expenditures. Your next graph has two line graphs on it. Your tuition support for ADM is your green, and then your orange colored there is your general fund expenditures per ADM. And you can kind of see they trend with each other. One goes up, the other one goes up, one goes down, the other one goes down. So I think our trend with staying with our ADM ADM goes down, you should be spending less. You have less kids, you'll have less money. You've got to make that adjustment. ADM goes up, that gives you more revenue to spend, hire another teacher, put it towards the classrooms. So again, I think we've adjusted well to what has happened as far as our enrollment through the years. The next graph is the general fund salaries and benefits as percent of general fund expenditures. I think this bodes well for our school corporation in that we were at 90% plus of the dollars that we had, we put it back towards staff and benefits. And I think that bodes well because that means we were controlling our other expenditures and watching those pennies very close so we could put the dollars in the classroom. The next graph is revenue by type, and again, you'll see all 5 check marks there, so revenue from general fund, operations, local, rainy day. The large block there in blue is your state revenue. The kind of orange block at the bottom is your local tax revenue. The kind of silver gray bar at the top is your federal revenue. So you can see the bulk of the money is coming from state, and then you have very good support from your local, and then you have other funding. I think most school corporations will be the same type of graph. There'll be some school corporations may have more federal revenue because of their low poverty and so forth, but I think you'll find most school corporations are going to be the same on that graph. The next one is revenue by type, and the only box checked is general fund, so we all know that money is coming from the state. Very bottom, very low margin there, and the purple is other local revenue. But for your general fund, it's state money, state money, state money. And then the next one, revenue by type for the operation fund. So this is your bus replacement, CPF, and transportation operation. That revenue is local tax. Almost all local tax. The purple there is other local revenue. That could be your lunch fund, money we brought in from textbook rental, and we did have some federal stimulus money back in 2012 and 13 that kind of spiked that in the purple. Any questions or comments at this time on that?
Charles?
Yes, sir.
Do you like this new formula, or this, is it helping you track money better, or prefer the old way, or what do you think on this?
It's of no benefit to me because I track it pretty closely. There's nothing there that I knew well of. It's nice that they did put it all together in graph form that I could assimilate and bring to the public. I think the reason this was put in place is some school corporations were not aware of their financial status. And you hear about Muncie's and Gary's and other school corporations that all of a sudden, where'd $10 million go? Where'd $20 million go? Their board was not kept informed. There was things that were not brought to the light. So I think this is the state's way of saying, here it is, and you must report on it. So I think that was the driving source behind that. I'm not opposed to that. I think it's a good thing to bring out. But if I'm answering your question, did it surprise me? No. I do think it's valuable for the state to be able to do that, and it does bring good information to you. Anything else at this time before I go further? Okay. Beyond that is some of the reports that I've generated. Get my fingers to turn pages here. The spreadsheet that you see there on the top left is a cash flow worksheet for your education fund. This was for 2019. Now, this was kind of a weird start to the year because we started with some funds, but we had to transfer to get money into the operations fund and so forth. So, if we're going to compare apples to apples, I put that in yellow there. Started the year at 2.9 million. In the bottom right, we ended up with 3 million. So expenditures and revenue were awful close, which is a good thing. We ended the year with 13.89% cash balance. The board has a guideline of 9%. Charles likes 12, so we're both happy at this time. You can go on to the next one, 2020. This is purely a projection. This is what I know at this time. So I project we start the year with the 3 million. I'm projected we end the year with 2.2. So we're going to be deficit spending in the neighborhood of $800,000. We did give significant raises, which are taking effect now, and then there'll be another kick in August and September. Right now, our enrollment is still declining a little bit. So with those two factors that I know at this time, even with that deficit spending, you'll see we're going to end up with 10% cash balance. That's a good cash balance, but we have to be aware that we can't continue to spend $750,000 more than we bring in. So we're going to have to look at where we're at. Hopefully enrollment will increase or at least plateau and not decline. And, if we pick up some key retirements, that always helps. So this is what I know at this time. I'm not alarmed by it, but this is where I think we'll be. Questions or comments there? Okay, the next one is Operations Fund in 2019. Again, comparing apples to apples, we started with $2.9 million, ending the year with $2.3 million, a 21% cash balance. I'm comfortable with that. I would like that a little bit higher, but we'll work on that. We did have some expenditures that in this year we paid off that were not alarming, but I think we're at where we need to be. In 2020, I see pretty much the same thing. I think the revenue and the expenditures would balance pretty close, so I don't see any worry for overexpending in the operations fund. Part of what we did in the operations fund in 2019 also is we transferred $250,000 out of there to rainy day, so that drew that cash balance down a little bit there too. Then the last thing is the end of year cash balance history. You can see all the way from 2010 through current, so I'm going to deal with the 2019. We started education fund at 3.1, ended with 3 million. You can make those comparisons across the board. So we started 2019 with all those funds at 13.5 million and ended with 13.2 million. So again, overall, I think a good year. I think we've managed our finances, we've managed our expenditures, and I think we're in very good financial condition and shape. Questions or comments, concerns?
Well, I would just like to say, as a data person, I appreciate all the work you put into these reports and making them understandable, because though I'm a data person, that's usually words and not numbers. So I appreciate how simple and understandable it is, so thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you. That's all I have at this time, Mr. Bertrand. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Tate? Guys, again, thank you. They always, when we start doing this, you always wonder what that number's going to be, but we always know that we're doing the right thing, too.
Yes, sir.
Okay, item number 8, agenda for routine staff matters. Dr. Millen.
Thank you, President Bertrand. I have for your consideration this evening on the classified staff report, 1 instructional assistant, 1 food service, recommendation 3 custodians, and 5 substitute teaching positions. On the certified docket, we have a request for maternity leave and a recommendation for replacement health and PE position. Mr. O'Rourke is recommending Brandon Pagan for that position. Under ECA, Amanda Scoble is recommending the spring coaches for the 2019-20 season. You'll see boys golf, track, and girls tennis. She is also recommending 2 basketball coaches that you see there, 7th grade girls and 8th grade girls coaches. Mr. Levine is recommending spring coaches for the 19-20 school year, including baseball, softball, track, tennis, and golf. Mr. Levine is also recommending Noah Rogers for the temporary position of strength and conditioning coach at Lebanon High School. Kelly Salmon is recommending Amanda Miller for the position of tech instructional coach at Hattie B. Stokes. Becky Alcall is recommending Jenny Harrison for the position of tech instructional coach at Central Elementary. And Mr. O'Rourke is recommending Andy Dardini and Lisa Robinson for the position of the high school FFA first semester sponsors, and Andy Dardini and Bill Hyatt for the positions of the high school FFA second semester sponsors. That's all I have for recommendations on routine staff matters.
Board, we'll go ahead and put these all together. So I need a motion to accept the classified, the certified staff communications, and ECA.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Bertrand, if you'll let the record reflect that I'm going to abstain. My wife is on the substitute list.
She passed the background check?
Finally. Took her 2 or 3 times.
All
Hung
right.
in there.
Any other questions?
Are the 7th and 8th grade girls basketball coaches, are they coaching now? Is that a current season? And
Mr. Dunshee, the two that are recommended here are the 7th and 8th grade. I believe they probably would have started.
They just started at their tryouts, and I think put the
Yeah, they get some approval from our offices based on some
Yeah.
early checks and whatnot.
I think we approved them
Sometimes we
before.
have to.
I think I remember seeing those
it seems
names.
that- Yeah.
Could
Yeah.
I
be.
remember Nathan's been on the list.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing those names before.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. All of those in favor of the routine staff matters, so the classified, certified, staff, and ECA, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
And if I could pause, President Bertrand, Mr. Levine is here this evening with Noah Rogers, who you just was approved as our strength and conditioning coach here for the remainder of this year. And of course, he will be working with several of our athletic teams and across those teams. So Mr. Levine wanted to have the opportunity to introduce him to you this evening.
Thank you. I'll be brief. I first just want to thank the board and Dr. Millman for understanding the importance in this position and allowing us to hire Noah. We're extremely excited to have him. Comes with a great deal of knowledge and experience from Ball State and also from working with some student athletes at Zionsville. And I did think it was important tonight that you be able to put the face with the name, since he's going to be working with all of our student athletes in an important position for us. So, Noah?
Thank you, Phil. I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. I'm extremely excited to work with the athletes you here have at Lebanon. I see a lot of promise, and I'm really excited to work with them and help them be able to perform at their best by working with them in the weight room this semester.
Welcome. And just one other final note, Noah has been kind enough to also spend time working with Brandon, who does the weight training classes. So he's not only working with the student athletes after school, but he'll also be doing some things behind the scenes for those kids that are in the classroom. And as time permits, he's actually going to try to come in sometimes and work with those kids. So that's pretty exciting too. So I thank him for that.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Recommendation for asphalt contracts 2020. Mr. Tate.
Yes, in your background information packets, you'll see that we accepted bids for some asphalt work. We had 5 companies show initial interest, only 3 companies bid on that. That's one of the reasons why we went out early, to make sure we get competitive bids here. So I'd like to first recommend Triangle Asphalt for the work at Perry Worth. There'll be a mill and overlay on the main lot, $64,900. And I'd like to recommend Baumgartner and Company for asphalt repairs at the high school, the middle school, Central, and Harney at $124,070. Both will be paid for from the GO bond. Request permission to sign those contracts.
Board, I need a motion to accept the contracts from Triangle Asphalt and Baumgartner. Second?
A second.
Any questions about those proposals? Okay.
I have just one question. How often do we have to do parking lot maintenance?
Well, it's reviewed every year. One of these has been on the waiting list. Perry Worth probably should have been done a year or 2 ago. There's spots that we pick out and we'll patch and try and get as much lifetime as we can. But we've replaced the middle school bus lot, and so we're continuing to try and set priorities with the funds that we have. So it's always on the watch list, right after the roofs and the heating and cooling.
Yeah.
Top to bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Recommendation for roof contracts. Mr. Tate.
It's also in your background information. We accepted some roof bids. We originally had 6 companies show interest. We had bids from 3 companies, recommending Danco Roofing for the Harney, sections 1A, 1B, 1C, a tear-off and replacement at $634,200. And then recommending Superior Roofing for multiple buildings. We have a section at the high school, the administration roof, Central we have a section, and Harney we have 3 smaller sections for $439,564. Request permission to sign both of those contracts, also be paid from the GO bond.
Board, I need approval to accept the roof contracts from Danco Roofing and Superior Roofing.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Dave? Any questions? All those in favor of accepting the roof contracts from Danco and Roofing and Superior signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Don Montgomery and his assistant Jim Whaling for their work on the backside of this. They know more about this than I'll ever dream of, and they keep us going in the right direction and get the bids out in a timely fashion so we can get competition at this time. So I'd like to thank Don and Jim Whaling for their help on this. Thank you, Mr. Bertrand.
Yep. Okay, item number 11, recommendation for facility study and assessment contract with Gibraltar Design. Dr. Millman.
Thank you, Mr. Bertrand. As I have shared in some of our previous briefs with the board, engaged with a conversation with Jim Thompson of Gibraltar Design to engage in a comprehensive facility study and assessment, Lebanon Community Schools. Jim has provided us some examples of some of their work and what he will be providing to Lebanon Community Schools. We know, as Mr. Tate just alluded to, that we have outstanding custodial and maintenance operations, and we track important data, and that is presented to the board from time to time. What this assessment will do is give us kind of a score sheet, again, as you've seen some of the examples, of each of our facilities. And as we've spoken here in our meetings before, when we are finished retiring the current bonds that are paid for the renovations of the high school that we're in now, and we look to the horizon to what's next in the district, this will give us the opportunity to have a bit of a roadmap of some of our short, mid, and long-range facility needs to help inform the board when you make those important decisions about the size and scope of work that we might try to take on in a 3-year time frame, 5-year time frame, 10-year, and on up to potentially even 20 years as a kind of a guide for us to do our work. Mr. Thompson has provided a timeline, as you see in your packet, starting with, if this is approved this evening, starting with meeting with the board in your upcoming work session to outline in more detail the work, answer any additional questions you may have about the scope of work. He will be meeting with the building administrators and walking, not just walking the buildings, they'll be doing a thorough look through of all the, looking under the hood, I guess, of all the facilities, including transportation and all the facilities we've talked about that are in need of either repair, renovation, or replacement in some cases. The timeline outlines what will be done within a 3-month time period to give us kind of a starting block, all the way up to sometimes in this process that the board will be asked to make those critical decisions about how we move forward with large-scale renovations and additions of potential facilities. So I have faith that they will do a good job. I've had some experience with Gibraltar in the past. Mr. Thompson and I are very much aligned in our thinking and our process and how we go through things deliberately. So there's really a quick on-ramp for us to work together. I know he's anxious to get started, anxious to meet you as well. So we're happy to answer any questions. I would say that I would also mention that this recommendation from the administration is a recommendation that we would use rainy day funds for this amount. for this assessment. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions you have.
All right. Board, I need a recommendation to accept the facility study and assessment contract from Gibraltar.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Any questions for Dr. Millman?
You say they're wanting to get started soon. How long is this gonna take?
I'll go back to my
Shows on
my
that.
notes. He would have a final school board update in the November, December of 2020. If the board was looking to do any large-scale decisions regarding any referendum questions, or whether it would be something that we would do within the caps, but we need to be planning a couple years out before the retirement of the debt here, so that we know what we're looking for. And some of those choices may require some late 2020 decisions. So it puts it in the appropriate wheelhouse for that. One of the things, Mr. Hurd, that I did ask Mr. Thompson to be able to prepare for us is some preliminary, maybe not quite as in-depth as he would have in November, December, but some preliminary reports to the board as early as March and April, though. That's when I would like to, be sharing that momentarily with you, would like to engage a community group to look at our school funding situation, both from a staffing standpoint, but as well as facility and an operations standpoint. So I would like to be able to give them some concrete information about at least what we're thinking about. So I've asked for him, there's a 90-day assessment that Gibraltar does, or this longer one that we've brought to you this evening. So I've asked him to kind of be able to share with us that 90-day plan at the end of those 3 months. So, and you'll see through this process, he will be coming to the board with updates periodically.
And we are paying for this out of rainy day fund.
That's our recommendation.
So this report is ours, this information, whether
Yes.
we move forward using Gibraltar for
That's
anything
correct.
further, they do this for us and we possess.
That's
this to
correct.
use as we
That's
want.
correct.
Okay.
And what I like is that, and some of my colleagues in the area, Wayne Township, for example, Gibraltar has done the same work for them. It's based on a 20-year scope. We all know that weather and unforeseen things can happen. That's a long time. But when you're looking at some of the roofs and asphalt and projects that you just approved this evening, have, typical lifespans, and you plug those into the equation along with any new facilities or renovations, then you begin to it gives you a better roadmap for funding that, and how we would want to anticipate, large amounts that we need to fund versus maybe maintenance years where we're maintaining. Helps us understand if we do go out for larger bonds, how long we finance those bonds based on what's projected needs for roofs and HVAC and things like that in the future. So we can consider that all together.
Any other questions?
We've used Schmidt and Associate a lot. Are you just wanting a different set of eyes on the corporation, or why? I mean, I'm fine
Sure.
with somebody else, but
Sure.
Schmidt's been around a lot.
Sure. That's a good question. It's really past experience, Mr. Hurt, with Jim and his company, and just know that they'll do a solid job for us. I think it is good from time to time also to have kind of a new set of eyes in some of
Right.
the buildings as well. I know Schmidt has engaged with us certainly on this project. We're engaging with them on the GO bond now in that project. But I think getting some eyes in some different possibilities is a good idea as well. Yeah.
And the cost will probably be pretty close to what we're paying now.
Yeah, this is an extremely competitive price for this. I think that folks do know that there could be some things on the horizon for
Sure.
Lebanon Community Schools, and so we're in a good advantageous spot right now to get
Right.
good bids on these type of services.
Anything Anything else? Okay. All right, all those in favor of the recommendation for the facility study and assessment contract with Gibraltar Design and also paying it out of rainy day funds, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. First reading policy updates. Dr. Millman.
Well, I could read all the policy numbers for the board,
You could,
first
but
reading,
that's all right.
but we'll be here all night if I do that. We are obviously continuing in our mode of catch-up here this evening, board. We brought you another long list of policies I have once again included. Thank you to Mrs. Beltran for providing the policy brief that outlines what those changes are and why those changes are taking place from Neola. I will not go line by line with them. I'll just entertain any questions that the board may have.
Any questions? Okay.
Stack
This
does
first
not seem-
reading's not as long.
Yeah, there's.
Is that coming to the end?
We have 3 more stacks.
Oh.
3 more stacks? 3 more stacks.
Okay.
I think this is the reason why my prescription changed for my glasses, because I've read every word of these policies so far. And it may change again by the time we get done with them.
All right. Item number 13, second reading of policy updates. Is there a motion we need to have
There were
for
no,
that?
yes, we need to entertain a motion for
We don't have anything?
first reading
We have to have a motion
first,
for
right?
that one
That's
too?
a separate action item, I believe.
Okay.
And then another action item for second reading.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
first reading, we don't take action, right? We're just reading
Yeah, we're
through
just
those.
reading
I'm
through.
sorry.
So-
I'm sorry. You're correct.
So second reading of policy updates.
I had no recommendations from the board for any changes, so therefore, if you have any this evening, I would be happy to answer any questions you have. Otherwise, they are recommended as presented.
Okay. Board, I need a motion to accept the second reading of the policy updates.
Make the motion.
A second? Lisa? Any questions? All right. All those in favor of the second reading of the policy updates signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Item number 14, new business. Mr. Martin?
Yes, the high school would like a trip approved to Camptown, September 3rd and 4th. It's an overnight. As well as Central Elementary Chicago. That's a traditional trip. And Teens as Teachers at Camp Tecumseh, also from high school.
Teams of teachers, okay. Then we have a couple DECA things to look at
Oh,
too.
sorry, yep, another page.
Okay,
LHS DECA State Competition, Indianapolis, 2 day, or an overnight, 2 overnights.
okay.
And LHS DECA International Competition, Nashville, Tennessee, April 29 to May 2nd.
All right. Board, I need approval for some day trips, overnight trips for LCSE kids.
I'll make motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any questions about any of these trips? All those in favor of approving the trips for LCSE kids signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion passes. Other business, superintendent transition summary.
Thank you, Mr. Bertrand. As you recall, I started here July 1st as part of the superintendent's transition plan. I'm going to try to connect here to the TV system. There we go. Part of that transition was to report to the board in January the activities that have taken place during these first 6 months and some reflections on that, possibly some directions to take moving forward within the district. So I'll get started and go as quickly as I can, but at the same time entertain questions that you may have throughout. So my transition activities, and this is not a comprehensive list of the activities that I've attended and places that I've gone within Lebanon Community Schools, both the schools and the district, but started off before July, actually meeting with administrators and teachers with the International Center for Leadership and Education here in this room, in fact, and spent 2 days with them, and then to DC, met with community leadership. I spent time with all of the administrative teams individually in each of the schools. I've had at least 6 now meetings with all the principals one-on-one, presented to some community groups, actually joined one of them as well since I've started. We've had 3 community listening sessions, multiple student presentations, as much time as I can spend with the students I do. Been great getting their insight. 3 superintendent transition focus groups, just finished the last one last week, and we appreciate the community members, students, parents, staff that participated in that important group. The first student group I met with was the senior class officers. Wanted to get to know them as quickly as possible, and that was a great meeting as well. Then I met separately with the grades 9, 10, and 11 officers. Things like reaching out to varsity football players and parents. Spent a full day in each of our 6 schools. Met with our transportation and drivers, police department, multiple events, Boone County EDC, and now I'm a member of the Redevelopment Commission as well. I do, like you, from time to time already have that "what was I thinking" moment. No, it will be a great opportunity to be able to give back to the community and stay engaged with the growth in the city of Lebanon and our greater community. So a lot of activities took place to try to get the pulse of Lebanon Community Schools. Again, not an all-inclusive list, just some things that bubbled to the top, some things that have been recurring themes, and items that folks have brought to me, have come out during some of those meetings and trips around the district. There's a great deal of community pride here, not a surprise to you. We've an engaged school board, caring, dedicated faculty, staff, administration, talented students. But we also have students who are trying to find their way and trying to find their purpose. And that came out from every constituent group. Whether it be the senior class officers that are concerned about classmates plugging in, or whether it be the staff members concerned about students needing to plug in. Every constituent group listed how do we engage, how do we keep kids engaged, and reaching out to those students that might not be finding their way as successfully as others. And so, again, that goes back to just being an engaged group in that bullet above it. So there needs to be an enhanced school community connection. I don't know what that looks like yet, but I think that's just one of the things that came out and was very apparent from the group. We have a growing student community diversity within our student body and within our community, and that came out as well as a need for us to prepare for that, be equipped for that. And I've shared with all the groups that does not necessarily mean racial and ethnic diversity. We have a different kind of learner coming to us. They've only known the digital age. And I try to remind people now, so have their parents only known the digital age. So that's not always the case with all of the instructors and administrators that did not grow up in some of those environments with some of those distractions, if you will. So that's part of the diversity, not just diversity of that, but diversity of learner. And we got a community that's kind of unsure of this whole change and growth that's happening, whether it be in the Whitestown area or growth here within the city. I chose that wording carefully in that bullet. It's just there's an unsureness about it, right? Is it happening? Is it not happening? Should I trust it? Should I not trust it? What does that mean for us? So there's just a lot of uncertainty around that. We've done incredible work. I commend Mrs. Ottinger, Mrs. Scott, administration and teachers for the incredible assessment work that's been done. The groundwork on that is just very commendable. Mental health services, educational neuroscience, social emotional learning, you can lump those together, have come out from multiple constituent groups of needs to be able to help our students and help our students be successful in the classroom. School improvement plans, we already started working on that and streamlining those and making a common template among our schools. I know that that's got some growing pains with my principals out there as we're going through that together, but we'll get there, and I think it will be positive, and we're all working off the same page here moving forward. Alternative school programming has bubbled to the top as a need. STEM education as a K-12 framework. It's happening in pockets, it's happening successfully in many classrooms, but the need for a K-12 framework in that area. Blended learning speaks to technology integration. Student and family engagement, going back to not only our students that don't have a purpose, but helping engage their parents as well to help make that happen. Strategic planning, folks wanting to know what that vision is. Obviously, facilities and academic interventions. We need some second and third layer interventions for our students when that whole group instruction, that first level of just classroom instruction isn't meeting the needs of every student, some second and third level interventions for our student. So for the future focused leadership, notable items, focusing on recruiting the best and keeping the best as a way forward. Community partnerships, continue to build that. And I mentioned that third bullet before, which is trying to blend our communities and work toward having that be a cohesive school community. Working on leadership development, that's students and staff, growing some of our own leaders, trying to navigate all these housing developments and what that means for our enrollment. And then all school districts in Indiana are dealing with the last bullet. How are we going to pay for it? How can we pay it ahead? So where do we start? I bolded the big stuff there. That really is just, we need to spend some time as a leadership team. We've been together 6 months, but we need to spend even more time before Dr. Milliman goes out and gives some sort of vision that isn't consistent with the leaders that get it done in all of our buildings and lead that charge with our students and staff every day. It has to be our vision, and so we're going to dedicate a lot of time together on working on that. You just approved the second bullet, which will bleed into the third bullet, which will bleed into the fourth bullet, and we're going to revisit the strategic plan as part of all of those things above it. And that last bullet I mentioned earlier when I was answering Mr. Herr's question is to engage a new group, whether we call it a focus group, an advisory group, I don't know yet. But we're going to tackle both the topics of facility needs moving forward for the district, as well as staffing and how we pay for those student supports that we need. We know that the state funding has fallen short, regardless of whether you're a growing enrollment or declining enrollment. The funds are not there to be able to do all the things that we need to do to support our students. So that's where we'll be starting. So we'll be focusing on knowing our kids and growing our kids. That's what I can share with you. Whatever the vision is moving forward, we have to know our kids before we can grow our kids. We have to know where they are academically. We have to know where they are social, emotionally. We have to know where they are in their state to be able to receive learning. We have to have relationships with them that allow learning to take place and growth to take place and engagement to take place. Then we can grow our kids academically and socially and emotionally. So we're going to know our kids so we can grow our kids. So whatever vision we craft together, I do see that as the two things that we need to keep forward at all times. How does this help us know our kids? That's what I'll continue to ask folks. How does this help us know them better? How does this help us grow them better? It's a great place. There's a lot of wonderful things happening. Again, the first bullet was school community pride. That's one of the things that just continues to come out time and time again. We were in Whitestown for that donation this past week. They were just so happy to see us and tell us stories about when they attended our schools, and that community engagement is there. That's something we should be proud of. So that's about as fast as I could do my 6-month summary. I had to practice it just to get it down to 10 slides. I know that was probably a lot to digest. We'll put this PowerPoint on the website following tonight's meeting. We're just getting started. And it's been a blast so far, not without some speed bumps, of course, but it's been a blast to get to know everybody, and I'm proud to be here. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
John, is being a superintendent what you thought it'd be?
And
I mean,
more.
you know, because
Yeah.
you know, you've always been in back, and there's always been
Yeah.
a superintendent.
Sure.
You could go, well, if it was me doing this, I did. But is it what you thought it'd be?
Yeah, and more, really. I think that, honestly, Mr. Herr, I'm able to get into the student level setting more in this role, which is what I missed. But it's also one of the reasons why Lebanon was so attractive to me too, is that I'm across the parking lot from several schools. You know, I don't have to go too far to see kids in classrooms. So I know that hopefully they'll be nodding out there that I'll just show up. I don't know what Mr. O'Rourke thought the other day. I tweeted a bunch of pictures from the high school, and I'm sure he was like, he was in high school? You know, I started Monday at the high school a couple weeks ago because I just needed to see some students. And in my previous role, that probably wasn't going to happen.
He goes there to
So
get away from me.
That's true too.
Well, that's understandable,
Let's just tell the
especially during basketball season.
But I will tell you that there's some new weights that I didn't have as well. I mean, the funding one for sure. You know, that's just one that if there's something that wakes you up in the middle of the night. It's how are we gonna do this? You know, how are we gonna pay for this? That's a tough. That one's a tough. You do feel the weight of that. So that is a new stressor for sure. And engaging, I think, with the legislators is a new frontier as well. Although we do have some help from our organizations to do that, but yes, it has. Overall, the answer is yes. Good question.
I just want to say thanks. I continue to get compliments on your level of engagement within our school corporation. And so I know it's not easy coming up and being in all these places, but that level of commitment is still there. It's not waned. And I know it's still 6 months, the honeymoon's still there, but I truly see that you get enjoyment and you get satisfaction being with the kids. And I think that's a big plus.
Yeah. It's not an act, that's for sure.
Oh, I know it's not an act.
But I think every one of the principals out there has been told no at least once. So I don't know how long the honeymoon's totally lasts. I think I've told them all no at least once.
Some more than once.
Perhaps.
Well, we definitely thank you for that, and that's good stuff to have and to be able to share.
Thanks. We'll have a lot more to share at the State of the Schools address in the spring. And the plan right now for that, a little bit of a different format, but we're going to try to have a panel of students and staff and community that can help us with that. So it's not my show, it's their show. So. Thank you.
Okay.
I think Michael ran all that.
Other business, we do have February 21st is our next regular scheduled board meeting, but we do have February 7th as our retreat, so make sure you have that on your calendar. Any other business the board has?
I got one question. Steve?
Awesome.
Those numbers are good, 50 to 60% of what we've been doing.
Good, good.
All right.
And the other, I'd just like to publicly thank Robert for being board president in the past. You did a really good job and had a lot of issues last year. So but you handled it very well, and just want to say thanks for what you did last year as board president.
Thanks, Dave.
Good luck, Michael.
Yeah, I was going to say that myself, as we do a reorg meeting. You know, Robert he was president last year, and we had lots of meetings and lots of conversations, and one of those conversations was a unanimous conversation that Dr. Milne was going to be our next superintendent. So I do want to say publicly thank you, Robert, for helping, keeping us all in line and getting dates for us and making sure everything works out for everybody that we interviewed and then when we had to talk. So, but I want to say thank you also for that. So,
Thanks.
anything else? Okay, if not, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.